Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And to you guys, this is the final Harry Potter movie review. Today we're tackling Year 7 Part 2, or I guess the 8th film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now this is actually the only Harry Potter movie that I have on Blu-ray. I actually, you should probably see, hopefully you can see, I have Fantastic Beasts 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. I did make a Fantastic Beasts tribute, which is already on the channel. If you haven't seen it, I will link it in the description below. I'll try to remember to. But yeah, so this is the first and only Harry Potter movie I've seen in HD, technically. I need to get the other 7 on Blu-ray. But this one is 130 minutes, PG-13, directed by David Yates, written by still Steve Kloves, and then music by Alexander Desplat, or Desplat, who did Part 1. And this is a great finale. This is up there, I think, with Avengers Endgame and The Rise of Skywalker. This is like the same level of intensity and craziness. Everything just works. You know what I mean? Everything simply works. This is a, upon watching these in not super quick succession, but kind of quick succession, people, like, I can't imagine, in 2001, or I think that was 2001, 2000, something like that, and then all of a sudden it all finishing in 2011. It's freaking crazy. Like I said, it's really like watching the MCU or the Skywalker saga, all coming together, or Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, all coming together in the end to form something really cool. And this is a very cool movie. The action is at its best here. I think it's really well done. Maybe not as intense as Part 1, just because of the whole no music thing, but I do think that, of course, David Yates is great as directing. This is a very this is probably not slower, not as slow as Part 1 or Half-Blood Prince. I'd say it's up there with Order of the Phoenix, because of course, this is the final one, so they can't make it a drag, they have to make it fun and really action-packed and really fun to watch, and it is, it's really sad. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens, and I finally understood, this is the first time, I freaking saw this movie like 6 times, I actually understand why Snape does what he does, why his Patronus is a doe, like Lily Potter. I understand why Harry used the Resurrection Stone to bring all of his buddies back, his parents and all that. I understand why Harry came back from the dead. So, I'm not that stupid, but upon watching this, I was like, oh, maybe I paid more attention. I don't know. But that's, that was a good story. I think it's a good story, There's a lot of great callbacks, a lot of great things in there that make you go, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's what that is, or, kind of thing. So, you have to have that because, again, this is the final one. I don't know. Tell me in the comments, is the Cursed Child canon? I'm assuming it's not because there's no movie. I'm not sure, though. I did read it. It's pretty good. I want to know, is canonically, after this movie, would you then read the Cursed Child book? Which is, I think it's up here. But there's a lot of great stuff in this movie, from the directing. Of course, David Yates is great as always. The writing is, again, on point. The acting is probably the best it's ever been for Harry Potter. I think Hermione, Ron, Harry, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, they're all really great. There's really not too much to hate. They all do a good job. I think it's really cool. Snape, Snape is at his best here. There's a lot of great stuff here where Snape is kind of, we're kind of seeing the inner machinations of his mind, and they're an enigma, that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff in there where you go, oh, that's, because Snape is probably like Luke, he's like Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, he is extremely underrated as a character, I think. A lot of people like him, but a lot of people go, oh, Harry Potter, or, Ron, or Hermione, or Hagrid, but Snape is a great character, There's a lot of different things in there where, you expect him to be a bad guy, and then he's a good guy again, and then he's a bad guy. There's so much going on behind the scenes that really kind of brings all this together, So he's kind of like Mac, kind of from Indiana Jones. I think I said that in Part 1, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He's a double Asian. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Again, no bad writing, no bad acting. Again, no bad directing. All that's great. Music is amazing. I think the opening of this movie with that, and I can't freaking redo it, but the music if you know what I'm talking about. The very beginning where it shows Warner Brothers, and then it shows the first shot where it shows like the Dementors outside of Hogwarts kind of guarding the place, and then it shows Snape watching the students, and then it shows the title. There's just a certain intensity to it, Because again, you've been watching all the way from Sorcerer's Stone up until this movie, Part 2. There's so much tension and intensity, and I don't know, just you're excited for it. It's like watching Endgame or The Rise of Skywalker. This has all led to this moment, and I think that a lot of the intense scenes are really well done. They're all paying off. Just little things like Snape watching the students, or Hermione Granger kind of saying like no, and then shooting Fenrir as he's eating or, you know, as he killed Ron's girlfriend from Half-Blood Prince, you know, even though she didn't like her, you know, she's not a bad person, she still wants to defend her. There's a lot of great little things like that. Harry Potter asking if death hurts, you know, there's just a bunch of crazy, sad things that happen, but also really uplifting and fun things that happen too. It strikes a pretty good balance between comedy and, of course, it's more intense than comedic, considering it's the last one and a lot of people die. But I do think, honestly, you know, upon watching all the way from Sorcerer's Stone, going to this movie, one of the best scenes in the entire film is where Neville kills Nagini, and then there's a shot where Voldemort and Harry are kind of like, you know, on the foreground of the school entrance, or the Great Hall area, not the Great Hall, but, you know, the big frickin' area of open ground, open space, and you see him, and they're kind of like, you can see in his eyes, Voldemort's like, crap, I'm all that's left, and Harry's like, oh crap, he's all that's left, you know, and then they shoot at each other, and the camera, like, shots, you know, it goes from, like, Harry, Voldemort, really quick, and then it goes, boom, and there's that big action thing. It's not, when I was a little younger, I thought that big final battle was a little bit disappointing, because, you know, it's not Endgame, you know, where they're all fighting, and it's these epic long shots. It's not The Rise of Skywalker, where you have, you know, Ben Solo turning and Rey fighting the guards and Emperor Palpatine's back, who was Snoke. You know, there's not all that stuff. It's really just Harry, Voldemort, you know, there's no epic spectacular, you know, it's just literally green energy, red energy, you know, that's what it's doing. But that's all it needs to do, you know, the big battle of Hogwarts, that all happened before, so that's fine, but all this going into it, now, you know, upon rewatching this, you know, quicker than just like, one every month, you know, I really like the battle, you know, I like it a lot. I think it's really good. I think having the, you know, the big final battle being not just some massive fight scene that takes frickin' 20 minutes or an hour, you know, it's just a short little thing, but because it came to a big moment, it's so more intense than, you know, a 40-minute battle would be, or a 4-hour battle, you know. There's so much in there that makes you go, oh, wow, I can't believe that happened. And everything about it is just so satisfying. So, in terms of negatives, I really wouldn't say anything. I think there's one cringy moment which the internet memed to shit when it came out, which is, of course, Voldemort laughing. You know, and, you know, it's, oh boy, you know, that's funny. And I don't know, honestly, if David Yates was like, hey, do a funny laugh, and he was like, you know, if that was, like, supposed to be funny, or if he just did it, and they just said, oh, we'll roll with it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because Voldemort is 99 out of 100, Voldemort is serious and dark and violent and brooding and just an evil motherfudger, you know? So then seeing him smile and laugh, I guess it's funny because he barely laughs, and the one laugh he does is kind of stupid, but, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a negative because it does take you out of the intense mood. You know, Harry just died, or we think he died. You know, he's technically alive with, you know, Hagrid. Hagrid's holding him, and of course you remember Hagrid brought him into the world. Not, you know, he didn't, like, that sounds weird. You know, he brought him to the Dursleys, let me say that. And then he also took him from the forest into Hogwarts, so, you know, there's a lot of intense things going on. You know, Ginny's freaking out, everyone's freaking out. Voldemort and the Death Eaters are, of course, really happy, but it's just, I don't know, it kind of takes you out of it to just hear Voldemort go, la la la, you know, maybe start laughing really weird. It's just kind of strange. Again, I don't want to say that's a negative because, again, it's not necessarily a negative. It's just sort of, in my opinion, taking you out of the immersion just a little bit, even if it is supposed to be funny. Other than that, I mean, really, there's nothing really, you know, crazy about it, you know, nothing bad about it. I think the writing's great, I think the character arcs are great, I think Ron kissing Hermione, that was a great scene, you know, they've always liked each other, and now it finally came to a close there. You know, killing the Horcrux is really cool, showing the link between Harry and Voldemort. The special effects CGI is the best here, of course, seeing the Nagini, and the spells, and burning. Now, they actually did practically build some of Hogwarts, and they actually did practically build some of Hogwarts in the end, where it's all busted up and destroyed, because I was watching, I have a Harry Potter magazine, and one of the interviews said that they couldn't just take the Hogwarts building, you know, the castle, they couldn't just take the castle and just poke holes in it, you know, because it would look weird. They have to, you know, engineer the Hogwarts building to specifically be damaged, broken, and destroyed. So it's kind of cool that they had to redo all of that. But, you know, you don't tell. You know what I mean? You can't tell. It shows really well. You know, it's a really great thing. I think the cinematography is great. The way the shots are lined up. There's nothing really cringy or bad about that. There really wasn't any of that in any of these movies. But again, this is a phenomenal end to the Harry Potter saga. If they ever continue to do it with a Cursed Child movie, or they just want to revisit the Harry Potter franchise. I know they're doing more Fantastic Beasts, and I can't wait for that, but in terms of Harry Potter, it is over. Of course, it ended. This is 10 years old. 2011 this came out. I think like December, November, but, year speaking, this is 10 years old, and I couldn't tell. This movie looks insanely good. It's funny at times, it's action-packed, it's really intense, really sad, but it all comes together in a close that makes it really well done. Again, as a huge Harry Potter fan, it's great, but as a movie fan, as just like a movie critic in general for you guys, seeing that transition from the Sorcerer's Stone all the way to the Deathly Hallows Part 2, it comes together in a way that is extremely rewarding and fascinating. Seeing these kids grow up from like 11 to like 19 and 20 in this movie, it's just insane that they didn't recast anyone, because everyone's the same except for the Crabbe or Goyle, one of those guys. One of them, Crabbe or Goyle, I don't know which one. Tell me in the comments if you know, if you're still watching. But I think one of them brought like a bomb to the London riots in real life, so they just got some random black dude to play him, which is fine. It's just, I always joke, I'm like, oh, did he change his color with a spell? Because they don't explain it. It's just like, oh, there's one black dude's here now. It's like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? One dude's still, who's this dude? He just like picked him off the street and was just like, hey, buddy, you look like a Slytherin. Come with, or you are a Slytherin. Come with me. We'll go F around. It's just kind of strange. Again, when you have things like that, where an actor dies or an actor gets in jail or an actor does whatever, you can't use them. But it's just kind of strange that they just got some other random dude. But anyway, again, that thing and then the Harry Potter, that laugh, that's just kind of immersion breaking. But other than that, this is a great finale. Again, it's up there with Avengers Endgame and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. We haven't really had anything for DC yet, but Return of the King, Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, I mean, all these movies are really well put together when it comes to a big battle, and this does not disappoint. So again, I'm going to have to give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 an A+. I mean, there really isn't anything to gripe about other than those things that kind of broke my immersion, but those really aren't negatives. It's just like, for me, it's just kind of like, oh, I wish they didn't do that. But again, tell me in the comments what you thought about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I'm all done reviewing all of the movies, Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter, so sadly this is probably one of the last videos you're going to see in front of the stand. This was all supposed to end in December, but I'm going to do one more video, I think, kind of showcasing and just kind of asking, kind of putting together out of the Fantastic Beasts movies and the Harry Potter films, which one is my favorite and least favorite. Again, hope you guys enjoyed these reviews. I really enjoyed watching them. I can't wait. I think after this I'm going to binge watch the Skywalker Saga and then the MCU. WandaVision is coming out January 15th, I believe, so I will be reviewing that as well. Just like I'm doing with Mandalorian. So thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed Harry Potter month. We have probably one more video coming with this. And of course, I'm still doing Lego Harry Potter the game. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.